Namaskar, I am Adi Bhagavan. Today I am going to talk about the very basics of economics as I understand it. I have, over the many years of preparing for UPSC, have been rereading a lot about core concepts of economics. So this is my understanding of what I've learnt over the years on economics. If you feel any discrepancies, you feel to contact me through the comment section. Economics is derived, the word economics is derived from the Latin word oikonomics, meaning household management. The root word is self-efficient in that economics is therefore the study of efficiently managing available resources to generate productive outcomes. That is perhaps the most simplest of all definitions of economics that I've arrived after studying it for a long time. So here are three of the key things that I think are the present basis for economics. One, economics is spatially and temporally restrained, meaning that economics is generally constrained by the factors such as by spatial factors such as location, availability or accessibility to resources, the ability to move resources from one place to another, and the ability to transport finished products to a destination, so on and so forth. Temporally, meaning that what is in demand in one time may not be demanded in another time. The economic outcomes or economic activity is also largely determined by the technology dominating in a particular era. So, for example, in the ancient era, a lot of people used bullock carts for agriculture. Today, we use advanced techniques like hydroponics and AI to grow crops. That is the first about the basics of economics. The second is that economics is generally perceived as the study of money, which is far from the truth. Economics is about how you use resources, and by resources we do not mean just money. By resources we mean money, raw materials such as mined minerals, crops, agricultural products, allied products created from agriculture, semi-finished raw materials, steel, cement, fertilizer, energy such as fossil fuel energy, nowadays renewable energy, credit or institutions that lend credit, and finally, most importantly, human capital, which is you and I. That is the ability of human labor to make these into things that are useful for humanity as a whole. Therefore, resources meaning physical capital, that is the raw materials and the agricultural commodities, financial capital, that is the money and the credit and the shares and the bonds, so on and so forth, human capital, that is the amount of education that people have, the amount of skills that people have, and how efficiently that can people implement those skills to get the best possible outcome. It also includes health, by the way. The third is that economic theories are largely based on assumptions. May sound strange, but how often do you come across this sentence, all other factors remaining constant? This all other factors remaining constant denotes the various assumptions under which a particular theory is propounded. For example, the law of demand and supply. It states that demand is inversely related to supply, all other factors being constant. That means, if a particular demand for a product is increasing, it is generally assumed that the supply would fall in short supply because A, it is assumed that the producers of that product may not have anticipated the spike in demand. Second, the legal conditions or the social conditions of accepting that product may or may not be suitable. If it is suitable and If the production is not up to mark, then the supply will fall down. This is just two of the crude assumptions operating under this law. It has very many vast assumptions, all of which I cannot present in such a short format. So, each theory has its own assumptions. For example, when Keynes propounds that demand in times of economic recession, demand based growth should be product, he assumes that the recession will create pent up demand, that is the excessive and obsessive need for people to spend will increase. Thus, demand based growth is needed to come out of an economic recession. This assumption may or may not hold true, which is why more often than not economic theories tend to backfire, and backfire they do, which is why a successful economist, repeat, a successful economist never ever gives you certainties. He only says this will be the general trend. That is why they often try to be diplomatic in saying if we do all this and if these things are remaining constant, then this may happen. They always point to possibilities, they never point to certainties. That's the third thing about economics that you should understand. Having said all this, I think you will now know what are the current economic problems we today face, and this is going to get slightly sociological, so bear with me please. Modern sociological theories today postulate that society today is under the phase of liquid modernity, meaning that technological progress in society is taking place at such a rapid pace that human social norms, social laws cannot keep up with it. I repeat, technological progress has exacerbated in its growth by so much that humans and human societies can no longer keep up with it. Almost every day, society is changing at such a rapid pace that it's almost fluid, it's not even static anymore. That's the theory that's being propounded, and it is also generally being accepted. Case in point, today, very recently, doctors in the US have announced that we can operate within a fetus. Many years ago, that was considered impossible, even considered to be heretic, to be breaching a realm that should not be breached. Today, such a thing is possible. Genetic editing is being talked about. A scientist in China modified the genes of a zygote and said that this zygote is now HIV resistant. If the zygote were implanted into the womb of a woman, it would grow up into a child who is resistant to HIV. So things like these are happening at such a fast pace, and human societies cannot keep up with it, which means the economic activity that humans do cannot keep up with it. You see it often in your regular headlines, jobs may get lost, jobs may get lost. This causes real nightmares to politicians because a well-run economy is the best indicator that they can project to the people to win elections. So more often than not, you hear a lot of politicians going really nuts about this because this threatens their very source of livelihood, which is bartering your democratic representation for power. Thus, today this is the problem that faces society. It is also faced by you in a certain extent. You often get if you are searching for a job today, you will often get the single line word from your company or from the company you are looking that your skills are not needed by our organization, or you are not fit enough for our organization. It basically means that the needs of the organization have changed so much because the technologies with which they operate have progressed to such a point that they need humans to adapt to it faster and more quicker. This is the current economic problem that is facing today. We are not facing a problem of less growth of less resources. We are facing a problem of plenty. That is something that today's economists find challenging to ascertain. That's why good economists in modern times are people who manage all of these things in such a way that things do not go out of hand. Having said that, I end this video here. I will come back with more understanding on economics. Thank you.